now. So how plan is creating? So basically I will help you with a simple query. It's not a like a complicated. I'm closing this extended event. It's not required. Okay. Let's suppose we have a straightforward some query. I'm not going for the complicated. I'm going for the customer table. Okay. Let me see how many record. It's a very lesser record. When we are executing a query, any specific query, so basically they are creating a plan. You know this. Okay. So let's suppose if I will execute this plan, what should we process to for the execution? So first they are checking if plan is there or not. And if plan is not there in a cache, they will create a plan. So what parameter they are like preferring, and you can say identifying to creating a best plan basically. So let's suppose I'm going to add something here where customer ID. Let me go for the customer ID and I'm adding here one. It's a very small table, only 3 records are there. If I can execute this, and if I will go for the actual execution plan, so simply have to press Control M for the actual execution plan. So after completion of execution, you can see your actual execution plan. So you can see this is a plan. And in a graphical GUI perspective, here is you can see icon. This icon is there. So if I can click, so now it's a actual execution plan is disabled. And if you want to go for the C, what is the execution plan? You can click here or press Control M. So I'm clicking here and you can see it's showing your plan. And in plan, it's saying index seek basically. So whatever index they created, they are referring those plan and it's going for the seeking a data from the data pages. Now, let's suppose I have to check. I'm going to copy this query and if I will add customer ID too, what should we happen? They will go with the same plan or they will create a new plan. So Arun, could you please tell me, like let's suppose we have a same, you can say same query, only parameter we are changing. Instead of one, we are putting two. What should be? If I'm executing one time, two time, three times, what will happen? And if I will go for this execution, what should be happen? Can SQL use same plan or can SQL go for the second plan? Basically, I want to know from Arun or Sek. Could you please tell me?
I think it will go with the new plan.
For both query you're saying. Okay. And same query. Let's suppose I'm going with a first query. I'm executing first time. So basically, if not plan, they will create a plan. But if I will go like a second execution, it means in a first execution, they already created a plan. And if I can go for the second execution, they will pick a plan and try to execute and fetch a data from the cache or whatever, like a data pages, or you can say a storage. So second time,
Yes,
they will pick up a same plan. But if I'm going with a different parameter, they will go with a different
new
plan.
plan.
So let me check what what is happening. It's a right or wrong. So you can see here one DMB called sys dot dm underscore execute underscore cache plan. Maybe you know this. So basically, this DMB holding all the plan information here, plan handle basically. So I'm adding a CP, the alias I'm putting, and I want to see only CP use count, basically how much time they are using. Okay. And then I want to which type of object is there. So CP dot object type. It's a SQL query or procedure or ad hoc query basically. Let me join or cross apply. Last time I explained to all. Cross apply, and I want to see what is a query because here is a SQL text is not there in this table. So I want to like cross apply with a SQL text one DMB sys dot dm underscore execute underscore SQL text. Okay. So I have to pass plan handle. Here is asking handle should be passed. So cp dot I'm going to plan handle. Yeah. Okay, and I want to see what is a query. CP, okay, it means this is really I'm putting a ST SQL text and ST dot text. I want to see what is a query here. Okay, and here is one. Okay, cache plan also. It's a compiled or uncompiled plan. I have to check. Okay, so first SQL type and it's a SQL text, and I'm going for the CP dot. Okay, okay, CP compile plan basically. cp.cas. What is the issue here? Okay, okay, I copy this value. It's not required. Okay, so let me execute this. So multiple plan is showing. So let me exclude this part. Which query we are executing? This is also cache. So I'm excluding this query. So what I can do? I can go with a st dot text. I'm going to go not like this. I'm adding this only. So I don't want to include this query, whatever query I'm executing. And you can see we executed this query. So I'm adding this part only so that we got to know we are using a which table. So only I want to focus for this table only. So I'm going to add st dot tax like first is on not like because current execution of query we are not considering, and second I want to consider only this table. If any query containing this information I have to find out those information. So you can see. Okay, so let me try to execute here. So I added a database name. Let me remove and same query because I'm executing to the same database. I want to remove. Let me try to execution of this. Okay, and let me try to execute this also. So I said like we want st text like this customer table mainly. Object type is a view they are calling. Let me go for the table only. It's object type. It's a table, and we have to focus for only one query. So let me add a complete part. I think it's coming with so many query. Not like this and like this. I think initial part is right. So I'm not adding a percentage. And you can see nothing is there. Let me try now. Okay. If I will select this and execute this, and let me try to execute. Why this is not showing here? Okay, let me clear because so many procedure are there. So basically I'm clearing all the plan. DBCC free pro cache, maybe you know this. So that will be clean the plan cache. So that will not get a lot of plan here. Okay, let me try to execute. Nothing is showing if I'm not adding this. Okay, Let me try to execute. Okay, let me clear once again, and I will try to execute this one. And plant handle is also required. So let me add here plant handle. So cp dot plant handle. I want this is also. It means multiple queries running inside this database. Okay, let me select this query. Okay, and now let me try to execute. Okay, here you can see this is a query and it's showing one. Okay, let me try to execute one more time, and let me go for the once again execution. Okay, what is the execution count you are getting? It's a 2. Okay, it means 2 times I executed. Let me try with a some different. I'm going with a 1. Okay, I'm removing this because, or I already like add removed. So let me go for the execution. Only what is the difference? I'm going with the same query with a different parameter. Same query, I didn't change anything. And let me try to execute here. Okay, let me copy this and place into the Excel. Or we can directly place into the temporary table. We'll not go for the Excel, but now only I have to filter out because I executed. And then we have to find, let me go for the filter here. Okay, no, it's a plan handle. I'm checking. We have to check this is only column width. It's 100. Okay, let me try to find out. Okay, customer table. So excluding all, and only we have to focus this table only. And now you'll get a 2 entry here. And 1 entry is saying it's a 1 execution. I executed a recently and it's created a new plan. Okay. And whatever, like if you can go for the 2, once again, let me go for the 2 only. They will go with the same plan. Okay. So if we try to execute this, and same, if you can, it's a data will be changed with a, you can say it's a 3 record you'll get now. Okay, and let me filter out, and now you can see what is the differences. Select all. Yeah, I'm going to search this one only. So now you can see execution is 3. Okay, so it means whatever parameter is there. So if parameter is same, it's going with the same plan. Otherwise, they are going with a different plan. Let's suppose I'm doing some mistake, and those will provide us some better understanding. I'm going to like a execute a same query, and I'm changing something like this C with a small c. Okay, okay, let me go. Okay, and this ID should be a small ID. So basically, when developer is creating a plan, it should be common in each and every section. Otherwise, multiple plan will create, and that will like pull your memory, whatever memory are there. So let me go for the once again execution, and let me execute same query, and let me try to filter its filter is working or not. So basically filter is not working. Let me select this, and once again I will copy this, and I'm trying to filter and paste into the same place, and unselect, and you'll get a 3 plan. Let me see what is the difference here. I think they are going the same plan. No, yeah. Are you able to see? So basically, I made a changes in case, okay? And this is a plan, and they created third plan. You got this? It means whatever changes you will do into the lowercase or sensitive, that will go with another plan, and whatever like a maximum plan will capture into the, you can say, in your memory, it's also degrade your performance. So each and every line item in procedure or query, whatever they are creating, it should be common. It should be same code should be applicable. Yeah, you're able to see. So basically, this is a major differences. So I already place query detail. With help of query detail, you can identify. So basically, when like as a DBA, let's suppose you started a code review. One procedure is not like a performing good. So for this case, you have to focus this point into your mind, because if multiple statement they wrote and some people wrote a small character like a small letter of table filter condition whatever, so they have to go with each and every common like a case. Otherwise, it's a degrade of performance because they will occupy high memory into the system basically. Okay, let's suppose I'm creating one table and those table does not have a primary key. Okay, okay, let me remove. I'm not going to create a new table. I'm going to use the same table like a customer table we have. I'm going into the design and now I'm removing this key field. Cannot change. Okay, maybe some relationships are there. Let me try to. Okay, okay. Do you want yes? Okay. So let me check now. It's not a primary key. So do you know what is a primary key maximum? Like some interviewer asking primary key. What is a primary key and what is a cluster index? Could you please explain now, Arun and Sek?
Yes, Priya.
Could you please explain what is a primary key? Basically, I already remove a primary key from the customer table. So basically, I want to know primary key versus cluster index. Generally, they are asking, and most of the people are like, it's not like it's a facing a problem. They are not able to explain what is a like a difference between primary key and cluster index. Some cases they are saying like a primary key versus unique key. Unique key.
Actually,
So,
we are, yes.
so could you please provide some input regarding primary key and cluster index?
Yes, actually, we are in a table primary key is called uniquely identifies for each row in
Okay,
table.
okay,
But when we talk about cluster index, so cluster index actually organize the order of rows
okay. On
in
basis
a
of
table.
ascending or descending, whatever.
Yes. So this is the major difference between primary key and cluster index. But these both are the same. If we create the primary key in a table, so there is no need to create any cluster index.
Okay, so basically, what is a like a main usage of cluster index, or you can say primary key? If you have a numeric data, okay, if table contains a numeric data, so this case you can go for the primary key or cluster index, okay. But let's suppose you said like when we are creating a primary key, it's a by default they are creating a cluster index, okay. So let's suppose I don't want to create a cluster index. That should be workable or not?
If only you want to create it only primary key, not cluster index.
Yeah.
So yes, it will do work.
So let's suppose I already created a cluster index, and
Okay.
if I'll be going to create a primary key, what should be impact?
If you have created cluster index, so you can create primary key.
No,
I
no,
think
no. Primary key cluster index is not saying I need a primary key. When we are creating a cluster index basically we are using for the search, okay, reading a data in a faster manner. But
yes.
primary key is a checks only. So those are checking duplicate record, they will not accept, or you can say null even not accept. So this is a you can say check constant. And cluster index is a indexing only. Data sorting in a
Okay.
manner like ascending or descending order. So
Okay. Okay.
basically, if they will ask, like, let's suppose I already created a cluster index, like I created one table and I created, let's suppose, this is a table. You know, this table does not have any primary key. Okay,
Yes.
you're fine. So I have to, if I have to create a like a primary key, like a cluster index, that should not work. It means no. So let me try to create a cluster index. You can see it's a, I'm removing this part. Let me remove this. This is not required. Okay, let me check it's accessible. Okay, I'm going to create a new indexes. Okay, cluster index. Oh, it's a cluster column store. No, I'm going to create new and cluster, non-cluster and cluster. Okay, let me go for the fresh table. I think it's saying no, we can't. EMP and no integer. Here I'm going with the ename varchar. So Zach, any like any doubt in this because it's a straightforward only, and they are normally asking, and so many like a DBA are not able to answer basically. So that's why I'm explaining.
Okay.
So let's suppose this is a table, and I didn't created any primary key. Okay, it's a plain table, heap table. So heap table does not have a primary key. I'm going to create, you can say, cluster index. Okay, so they will not ask me to create a primary key. I'm going to add here imply number. Okay, I'm creating by default name. It's a created a cluster index. You can see this is a cluster index. If you can see a script also, you will get this is a primary cluster index created. But this table does not have a primary key. You can see it means cluster index. Basically, you can insert a duplicate data. They will not ask us because it's an index only. I'm saying something. I'm adding here once again, and I'm adding something. They will not ask me to go with a different data because it's not a check constant. You got my point? Because
Yes.
I created, and let me add another data so that you'll get some difference. I'm going with the 2 and I'm
Okay.
adding once again something. I'm going once again 3, I'm adding something. Okay. Now I'm adding a 1 and here I'm adding a rune, let's suppose. Okay. And let me close and now you can see what is the differences here. You got my point? You can see I added a rune after this third row. And
All
I
right.
created a cluster index. It came near to this one because data is sorting into the ascending order. So basically on index, they are sorting a data, nothing else. But
Okay.
if I will go for the primary key, now what should be happen? I'm creating another table. Just I'm creating a replica of this table. Okay. Imply table.
It will not give us permission to enter duplicate data.
Yes, because it's a check constant only. It's not, you can say they are like adding some rules so that you can enter. I'm going with a primary key. Okay. I'm saving this table employee. Okay. Only table name is a differences, but you can say same column I created with a primary key. And if I can add a data, okay, it's which table this? Okay, it's a whole table. I think it's a whole table. Okay, implies and okay, imply this one is table. Okay, I'm going with this. And if I'll try to add here same data, they will primary key will violate us and they will say we can't accept this on basis of primary key only. They will cluster index is not saying I will not accept a duplicate data. Okay. And once again, let me enter here. I'm going with a 5 and I'm adding something. Here I'm going to add 4 and I'm going to add something. So you can say on basis of cluster index, they will sort. On basis of primary key, they will not sorting a data.
Okay, we
Okay.
are just to ask something.
Yep. Tell me.
Okay, so basically you are saying that primary key is a check constraint.
Yes, right.
Okay. So, but in some organization, many developers saying that if we are creating a primary key on a new table, so there is no need to create any cluster index. That means they are wrong.
No, 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 no. Basically, each and every table should require a cluster index. This is a main criteria. Like if you want to good performance, like let's suppose I have a master table and master table contains like 100 or 1000 of record. So let's suppose I will join this table with any transaction table and those transaction table have a 1 CR record. Okay. So if table contains, you can say cluster index. So basically, and it's not a heap table that will improve your performance basically. Okay. So that's why they are saying like you have to go and create a primary key in each and every table so that by default it's a create a cluster index. So basically this is a target. And they if they are going with a you can say some referential integrity like a foreign key, then this case they have to go for the primary key constant. So let's suppose same criteria. Let me come back with another like whatever table I created implied table. I didn't created a cluster index, didn't created a primary key, but I created a cluster index. I already explained. Okay, you can see cluster index is there, but no primary key. Let's suppose I'm going to create a primary key now. What will happen? I'm going to force a primary key. So basically, if duplicate data is there, they will not accept those. So let me remove first the duplicate data so that we'll able to create a primary key. So I'm going with a 1 1, then 1 2, and now and 1 3. Now we have a unique data.
Um,
Yeah, these are unique data for me. Okay, let me try to create a primary key now. So they will accept because whatever data are there, it's a unique only. I'm going to save. Okay. Now you have to check. Initially, it's a cluster index. What index will create? So basically, this is the answer you have to explain to interviewer. If I will expand here, you can see what is happening. So now your primary key is created with a unique cluster in non-cluster index. It's not a cluster index. You are able to see. So basically, it's a
Mr. Rajesh,
yep,
sorry to interrupt you. I have a question here.
yep.
So it's like whenever we create a table, irrespective of a primary key, let's assume like we have created a table without a primary key. So by default, a table will have its clustered index or non-clustered index.
So if you are not creating any table, you are not creating any indexes. So it means table does not contain any indexes by default. So basically, manually you have to create whatever indexes you are looking for.
Okay.
But if you want to enforce some like a non-duplicate, then you have to go for the primary key. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, what is happening? Each and every company is saying, please create minimum one cluster index. They are saying create a primary key. Basically, this is not a goal. Main goal to create a cluster index in each and every table. Because let's suppose I have a master table. Those table have a 5 record, but transaction table is a 10 CR record. So when we'll join with a master table with a transaction table, that time it's a degrade the performance because table does not have an index as primary key, a cluster index basically. So main you have to focus each and every table should have a cluster index. Primary key is not mandatory. Primary key mandatory for referential integrity. Like let's suppose you want to go for the foreign key. You have a department table separate and employee table separate. In employee table, basically, you want to introduce department number as a foreign key. So this case, primary is like a key required into the your department table, basically. You got my point.
Yeah,
So,
I understand that.
yeah,
My question is, when I create, let's assume like I'm creating a simple table where I'm mentioning I'm giving this private primary key.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So in that scenario, will it create the index automatically, or do we have to create the
No,
index
no, no.
manually? So,
So basically, when you will create a primary key, automatically they will create a cluster index. So not
okay.
required to create a cluster index. And same
Okay.
thing by default in a category table, you can see some category ID is a primary key. So by default, if you can check, you will get a primary key on this column. If you can
Okay.
script out, you will get to know it's a cluster index only. Okay. And it's a data is sorting in ascending. If you can put in the descending order, so whatever data I explained to you for the implied table or other table, you can say it's automatically sorting. So by default, when we are creating a cluster index primary key, it's automatic creating a cluster index on basis of ascending order. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to descending order, if you want to go for the descending, like some cases in a financial companies financial data, they want only latest data. They don't bother about, you can say, old data. So basically some cases they are going with a, you can say, descending order, like a some date is there, like a transaction date, so they can go for the descending order. But here is a like a master table, so for this case we can go for the by default ascending, not required any like a information to change. And here you can change on basis of your need. You have to change your like ascending to descending on basis of your usage. Okay. So when you are creating a cluster index or whatever non-cluster index, you can change. Basically, cluster index is a sorting a data into the, you can say it's a physically sorting and storing a data. So that's why they are asking which order you want to sort your data. So mainly one thing you have to focus. If table does not have any primary key or cluster index, it means it's a heap table only. So if you can go for the create like execute any query or procedure, what will happen? They will suggest to create a minimum one cluster index. So they will show you like a missing index detail basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you want to go for one another class so that I can set up and we can go for the like a some like a, how we can create a indexes. So let's suppose we have a query with a multiple column, how we can create a like a indexes so that we'll get a good performance while reading a data. And you know,
Okay.
when we are creating a indexes, what is happening? Uh, it's a degrading your like a insert a statement. Like a, let's suppose we have a multiple index table. Index are there. So it means when you will inserting a data, they will insert a data into the your data table, data pages, and after that they will update your all indexes so that they have enough information. Let's suppose I added a Arun, so it means in index should have a information Arun is added in these data pages. So if anybody will try to fetch Arun data, so on basis of indexes, they will refer and find out those data basically. So if we have a less indexes, you will get a high insert, like a insert, you can say high insert performance basically. And if you have a high number of indexes, you will get a select read a statement, you will get a faster read fast. But what will be impact here? Insert will be slower because they have to like update your, you can say, index table. Okay. So just because you know we can create a total 1000 index in one table. Our table we can create a 1000 indexes included one cluster plus 999 non-cluster indexes. in a one table basically. So if you can increase number of indexes, it means you are degrading your insert operation. And if you are increasing your indexes count, you are like improving your like a read statement. Read means select. Okay. So on basis of your like a requirement, you can go for the more indexes. And if you have a more indexes, it means you have to go for the index maintenance also. And sometimes interviewer is asking like why we can create a only one indexes. You know, do you have any answer regarding like why we can create only one index in a one table? Why not more? Because non-cluster we can create 999 in a one table.
Yeah, I have this question.
Yep.
Like when you said we can create one clustered index,
Yep.
and again you mentioned there like 999 non-clustered index.
Yep.
So anything like if I don't create any index at all, so uh, there's no point of like mentioning 999 non-cluster index, right? If I don't create any clustered on a table.
Basically, like why I mentioned this is a limitation of SQL Server, or you can say table. In
Okay,
one
when you
table, we can create.
Mhm.
And if you want to,
Okay.
like on basis of your requirement, you want to go for the creation or not. Like let's suppose you want to high read performance. Like we have a two server. One is a OLTP server, those pointing to your production environment, and we have one reporting environment. Okay, and I want read like you can say read performance high we want. So for this case, on reporting server you can create whatever how many indexes you want, because you want to improve, you can say read like a select operation. But OLTP system, basically you have to focus how much percentage you are reading and how much percentage you are writing. On basis of like a requirement, you can create a indexes on the OLTP server. But reporting server, maximum you can go for and create how many indexes you want. But let's suppose I created an index. So basically they are also consuming a space. Okay. Let's suppose I want to check a space huge one command procedure is there. So you can see how much space occupied by the any, you can say, table. So you can see some space consumed by the indexes and some consume space consumed by the, you can say, procedure. You can say index is consuming 8 and data is consuming 8. It means you are increasing your storage when you are going to create a more indexes on the database. But you are creating a more like a space storage consuming. It means for this case, it means you want select or read performance high, basically. So, Sak and Arun, can we go with one another class? If you want, we can proceed. Or if
Okay.
not, then we can set up a call for evening, if you want. Because this meeting will like finish in a 1 minutes. Can we proceed
Okay.
with a one more class or evening you want?
I'm fine with it. I'm not sure with Arun.
Arun, could you please
Will
tell me,
go
can we
as
go with
per
a one
the
more class or?
Yes,
available.
you can.
Okay, okay. So just I'm setting a call and I will send you invite. Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.